Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chiva Narottamam, Devam Sarasvatam Vyasam Totu Jayamudiriyat.
It is said, the stories of the Mahabharata are as sweet as nectar. Listening to this tale brings merit. Suti said, O sages, pay attention to how the churning of the ocean occurred in ancient times. Brahma proposed the churning of the ocean to the gods. It was suggested to gather all the great herbs of the earth, throw Mount Manda into the ocean, and churn it. Brahma stated that nectar would emerge from the churning of the ocean, and by consuming it, the gods would attain immortality. The gods and demons, under the advice of Brahma, gathered together to undertake the churning of the ocean under the leadership of Gadadhar Narayana. With Vishnu's permission, the gods tried to lift Mount Manda. However, the exceedingly tall mountain, measuring 11,000 yojanas in height, could not be moved. Despite combined efforts, the mountain did not budge. Exhausted and helpless, the gods approached Vishnu and sought his assistance. Vishnu lay in his divine slumber on Ananta. At Vishnu's command, the great serpent Ananta lifted Mount Manda with its immense strength and brought it to the shore of the ocean, handing it over to the gods for the churning of the ocean. The gods looked at Vishnu with gratitude. Subsequently, the gods went to the shore of the ocean and requested Varuna to stabilize Mount Manda. Varuna replied that his strength was insufficient to hold such a massive mountain. He mentioned that a great turtle resided in his waters, capable of stabilizing Mount Manda. The gods worshipped the turtle, and it agreed to hold the mountain on its back. Mount Manda was placed on the turtle's back, and Vasuki, the serpent, was used as a rope to begin the churning. The gods held Vasuki's tail, while the demons held its head. Thus began the great churning of the ocean. Due to the friction of the mountain, Vasuki exhaled, emitting smoke that spread into the sky. This smoke formed clouds, which then rained, relieving the gods of their fatigue. The vibrations caused by the churning led to the death of aquatic creatures in the ocean. The friction of Mount Manda ignited a fire, burning the trees and animals on the mountain. Out of compassion, Indra instructed the clouds to extinguish the fire. The friction also caused the essence of medicinal plants to mix into the ocean. This essence revived the aquatic creatures that had perished. The gods and demons grew weary after prolonged efforts but found no trace of nectar. They approached Brahma and said, "By your command, the churning of the ocean began, but no nectar has emerged. Our efforts seem to have gone in vain, and we lack the strength to churn further." Brahma conveyed the situation to Vishnu. Vishnu reassured, "With my assistance, the churning will be completed." Narayana promised the gods that nectar would be discovered. With Vishnu's strength, the gods resumed churning the ocean using Mount Manda. Amidst the churning, the moon unexpectedly rose. The moon, complete with all 16 phases, ascended and settled 2 lakh yojanas high in the sky. Its beauty mesmerized everyone, bringing a sense of fulfillment. Thereafter, the churning resumed. From the ocean emerged a gigantic elephant named Airavata, white in color and possessing 4 tusks. Everyone, gods and demons, watched as wine emerged from the ocean. Next, a horse named Uchishrava rose from the ocean. The gods and demons were delighted. A divine flowering tree named Parijat appeared as a result of the churning, enhancing the beauty of the celestial realm. Dhanvantari appeared before the gods and demons, holding a pot of nectar in his hand and carrying it on his left shoulder. After this, the Kaustubha gem emerged, and seeing it, the gods joyfully resumed the churning of the ocean. However, due to the movement of Mount Manda, a great upheaval began within the ocean of milk. King Varuna could no longer bear it. Worried, he consulted with his advisors on how to continue the churning process. One of Varuna's advisors suggested seeking refuge in Narayana, the wielder of the discus. He mentioned a maiden who had once been born in the lotus forest. Her name was Lakshmi, who, due to a sage's curse, had left heaven and taken refuge in the ocean's depths. To resolve the crisis, she needed to be restored to Narayana. Upon hearing this advice, Varuna promptly arranged for a beautiful palanquin. Carrying the palanquin himself, he went to Narayana along with his son. Maidens fanned the air with fans, creating a soothing atmosphere. The 1,000-hooded Shesha serpent formed a canopy over Narayana with its hoods. With Lakshmi's emergence, the three worlds were illuminated. Her beauty was so mesmerizing that even the sunlight seemed dim in comparison. Lakshmi's lotus-like face radiated light everywhere. Her tender feet and lightning-like complexion enchanted everyone. With her appearance, all beings, movable and immovable, from the ocean to the sky, were filled with joy. Upon seeing Lakshmi, celestial maidens, serpent maidens, apsaras, and humans erupted in celebration. Their jubilant cries echoed across the heavens. The gods bowed to Narayana in gratitude. Thereafter, Varuna approached Narayana, bowed respectfully, and pleaded, "O Lord, you are subtle, you are vast, and you embody all forms. You are Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and the master of all creation. Why has this calamity befallen my ocean? I fail to understand. Please tell me the reason." Narayana consoled Varuna, saying, "Do not worry. Due to sage Durvasa's curse, Lakshmi left heaven and took refuge in the ocean. The churning of the ocean was arranged to bring her back. With Lakshmi's return, all the problems of the three worlds will be resolved. Be at peace and do not worry." Narayana then stopped the churning of the ocean. Overjoyed, Varuna adorned Narayana with the Kaustubha gem. The brilliance of this gem surpassed even the sun's radiance. Lakshmi took her place beside Narayana. The churning of the ocean came to a complete stop, and all the gods and demons returned to their respective abodes. Suti concluded, saying, "The story of the Mahabharata liberates humans from the sorrows of the material world. Listening to this story with devotion alleviates all the troubles of life."